Will Theo turn against EJ in Days of Our Lives? The DiMera family reckoning that could shatter everything. Oh, Salem fans, if there's one thing we've learned after decades of watching Days of Our Lives, it's that the DiMera family doesn't do anything halfway, especially when it comes to secrets, betrayal, and devastating revelations that ripple through generations. The tension has been building for months, and right now we're staring down what could be one of the most emotionally charged arcs in recent memory. With Lexi's health hanging by a thread and Kristen DiMera stirring the pot like only she can, the question on everyone's lips is impossible to ignore. Will Theo Carver finally turn against EJ DiMera? And more importantly, why do so many of us believe it's not just possible, but practically inevitable? Let's start with the heartbreaking reality that's been weighing on all of us who love Lexi. We all know Lexi won't live much longer. Her time is running out, and the clock is ticking louder with every episode. For those who've followed her journey through the years, this feels like a cruel full circle moment. Lexi has always been the heart of the Carver family, the strong, compassionate woman who tried to bridge the gap between her DiMera blood and the life she built with Abe and Theo. But cancer, that insidious villain in Salem, has other plans. The brain tumor is aggressive, merciless, and it's stealing her from everyone who loves her far too soon. What makes this even more devastating is the origin of that tumor, the dark history that Kristen is about to weaponize in the most explosive way possible. Picture this. Years ago, in one of those classic DiMera underground lairs that seemed to stretch beneath half of Salem, Andre DiMera imprisoned Lexi in the infamous DiMera tunnel. He exposed her to toxic gas in a twisted power play that was pure DiMera ruthlessness. That exposure planted the seeds for the tumor that's now claiming her life. Stefano DiMera, the formidable patriarch himself, has been consumed by guilt ever since. The great Stefano, master manipulator and king of schemes, brought low by the knowledge that his family's endless vendettas and dirty dealings may have cost him the daughter he claimed to cherish. This guilt has been simmering beneath Stefano's iron exterior for a long time. Fans have seen the subtle cracks, the way he looks at Lexi, the rare moments of vulnerability where the weight of his legacy presses down on him. But guilt alone doesn't stop a DiMera from scheming, and that's where Kristen enters the picture like a hurricane in designer heels. Kristen has always been a master at twisting the knife, and this time she's setting her sights on Theo. In a scene that's sure to be dripping with dramatic tension, Kristen will sit Theo down and deliver the bombshell. His beloved grandfather Stefano is the root cause of Lexi's brain tumor. Not directly, perhaps, but through the chain of events that Andre set in motion under the DiMera banner. Kristen won't stop there. She's going to paint a vivid picture of the entire family's toxicity, arguing that EJ is cut from the exact same cloth as his father. The apple doesn't fall far from the poison tree, she'll likely hiss, her eyes flashing with that signature mix of malice and calculated sincerity. Why would Kristen do this? Because chaos is her playground, and right now, driving a wedge between Theo and EJ serves her larger agenda. Theo has always been the innocent in this saga, the young man trying to navigate his DiMera heritage while honoring his Carver roots. He's smart, loyal, and fiercely protective of his mother. Hearing that the tumor stems from the very legacy he's been cautiously embracing, that's going to hit like a freight train. Kristen knows exactly which buttons to push. She'll remind Theo of every shady deal EJ has made, every time EJ has chosen power over family, every instance where the DiMera name brought nothing but pain. As someone who's watched this show for years, I can already picture Theo's face, the initial shock giving way to simmering anger. Theo has grown up in the shadow of these larger-than-life figures. He's seen his mother suffer because of DiMera entanglements. He's witnessed EJ's ambition tear through relationships and alliances. Kristen's influence could be the spark that turns that quiet resentment into outright fury. Suddenly, Theo isn't just mourning his mother, he's looking for someone to hold accountable. And who better than EJ, the current face of DiMera Enterprises, the brother who's always seemed untouchable. Let's talk about why we think Theo will start attacking EJ. It's not just speculation, it's rooted in character history and the way Days loves to explore generational trauma. Theo has always been more level-headed than some of his relatives, but grief changes people. We've seen it before. When loved ones are taken too soon, characters lash out, make alliances they later regret, and cross lines they never thought they would. Theo, turning against EJ would be poetic in the most tragic sense. It pits brother against brother in the complicated blended family way that only soaps can pull off, fractures the already fragile DiMera unity, and forces everyone in Salem to pick sides. Imagine the confrontations. Theo storming into the DiMera mansion, voice cracking with emotion as he accuses EJ of perpetuating the same toxic cycle that killed their sister. EJ, ever the smooth operator, would try to deflect, to reason, perhaps even to gaslight, just a little classic EJ behavior. But Theo won't be easily swayed once Kristen plants those seeds. We might see Theo digging into old family records, uncovering more evidence of DiMera misdeeds, or even teaming up with unlikely allies like Abe or members of the Horton family who have their own beef with the DiMeras. The drama won't stop at verbal sparring. Expect corporate sabotage Theo using his tech savvy to disrupt EJ's latest business ventures. Personal attacks too, maybe leaking damaging information to the press or interfering in EJ's relationship. The writers have so much rich material to pull from here. Lexi's declining health will serve as the emotional backdrop for every scene. We'll get those gut-wrenching hospital visits where Theo sits by his mother's bedside, whispering promises of justice while she weakly urges forgiveness. But forgiveness might be the last thing on Theo's mind, as the tumor steals more of Lexi's vitality each day. How will this story unfold? If I were scripting this, and oh, how I wish I could sit in those writers' rooms, I'd stretch this arc across several intense months. First comes the revelation from Kristen, probably during a vulnerable moment when Theo is already raw from a visit with Lexi. Then the slow burn. Theo researching, questioning family members, and gradually pulling away from EJ. Mid-arc, we'd hit peak drama with a major confrontation at the mansion or perhaps at the hospital itself, where emotions boil over in front of witnesses. There would be twists, of course. Stefano might try to intervene, offering his own version of events and attempting to pull Theo back into the fold. Kristen could overplay her hand, revealing her own motives and causing Theo to question her too. Maybe EJ discovers what's happening and launches a counter-campaign, trying to win Theo back with brotherly bonding or promises of power. And through it all, Lexi's condition worsens, creating ticking clock urgency. Will she live long enough to see her son reconcile with the family, or will her death be the final catalyst that pushes Theo over the edge? This isn't just about two brothers clashing. It's about the soul of the DiMera legacy. For years, Stefano built an empire on manipulation, loyalty through fear, and endless revenge cycles. EJ has tried to modernize it, but the rot remains. Theo represents the next generation, the one that could either continue the darkness or finally break free. If Theo turns fully against EJ, it could lead to a power struggle that reshapes DiMera Enterprises, affects alliances across Salem, think Brady family reactions, or how this impacts Johnny and Chanel, and forces long-buried secrets into the light. Fans have been speculating wildly on social media. Some think Theo's anger will lead him down a darker path, perhaps even flirting with DiMera-style tactics himself in a twist of tragic irony. Others hope for redemption Theo, channeling his pain into something positive, like advocating for better medical research or exposing corporate corruption tied to the toxic exposure incident. But Days of Our Lives rarely takes the easy road. The more dramatic route is almost always the one they choose, and right now, that points toward heartbreak and betrayal. Let's not forget the supporting players who will amplify every moment. Abe, torn between protecting his son and his complicated history with the DiMeras. Paulina, offering fiery maternal support. Even characters like Chad or Kate could get pulled in, offering advice or warnings. The hospital scenes alone will be Emmy-worthy. Quiet moments of Lexi reminiscing about better times, contrasted with explosive family arguments in the hallway. As Lexi's time runs out, the emotional stakes couldn't be higher. Kristen's manipulation isn't just about revenge against Stefano or EJ. It's about proving that the DiMera curse is unbreakable. But maybe, just maybe, Theo's journey will challenge that. Or perhaps it will confirm it in the most devastating way, with Theo emerging as a new player in the family's dangerous game. Whatever happens, this storyline has all the hallmarks of classic Days: love, loss, legacy, and lethal family secrets. Theo turning against EJ feels like the natural evolution of years of built-up tension. The guilt, the gas exposure, Kristen's scheming, it's all converging into what could be a game-changing chapter for the DiMeras. Salem will never be the same, and neither will we, as we watch these characters we've loved for decades grapple with pain that cuts to the core. Will Theo go through with it? Will he make EJ pay for the sins of the father and the brother? The clues are there, the emotions are raw, and the stage is set. Grab your tissues and your popcorn, fans! The DiMera reckoning is coming, and it's going to be one for the history books.